Yes, everyone, welcome back to XG File. Stephen Howson, Ronaldo Brown. What's happening?
You said Ronaldo Brown, I pointed at you. I got that all wrong. I'm doing all right, though. How are you?
I'm all right, thanks. How are you lot doing in the comments? What's going on? This is a seriously, like, specific topic.
Is it?
I honestly didn't really want to come in and talk specific topics today. And also,
when do we ever talk about specific topics?
I know, that's what I thought.
No, we'll get into all sorts of general. Just might as well call it.
I thought it was having a really interesting conversation that I don't think was hot. And I think it could have gone out. And I think it would have been a conversation people would be interested in.
What, the one we just had now? About where best to live in America?
That wasn't what the conversation was. That wasn't what the conversation was.
What was the conversation about?
It was a little bit of the conversation.
Are we talking about pre-season?
No. I was talking about the American thing.
Okay.
And the veteran look that I sport, and Ronnie said that if I was from Texas, I'd have only Nordic-looking friends.
I didn't say that. There's literally no evidence of me saying that. At all.
All right, yeah, there's no evidence of him saying
I just said I could picture you, the look that you've got now, I can picture you in a trailer park with a pickup truck.
So yeah, someone tweeted us saying, talk about UK gun law and what 5 guns would you have now? And I was like, this is genuinely something that I am interested in. So I do go shooting. And he said, what range would you have? And I was like, ooh. Now there's some, up near Oldham, there's a couple of ranges that I think you can fire some severely long-range weapons on. Is everyone aware that the Barrett 50 cal, that I think that, is it in like all the Call of Duty games and stuff like that, so people are familiar with it?
I'm not a Call of Duty guy, you know.
Is it? Is the Barrett 50k?
Yeah, Jaden might know better than me. Yeah, he said, yeah.
We got a thumbs up
got a thumbs up from
right. So that rifle, which is a special forces sniper rifle, essentially, is fully legal to own if you've got the right kind of license in the UK, which is bananas.
Okay. What is it like though in terms of, because I'm not really familiar with gun laws in UK. I know it's obviously a massive controversial factor across the pond, but I think the licensing must be a lot more strict in the UK in terms of getting guns.
1,000,000%. I'm just wondering, are we live? Because none of the comments are talking to us.
They are talking to us.
Are they? Oh, there we go. They are.
Yeah.
They weren't making a lot of sense, so I was like, hang on.
Yeah.
Daniel Willis says, yeah, Diggle Ranges, that's exactly the one. So I actually don't know if Diggle Ranges could handle a 50 cal. But it is you have to go through a whole process and stuff like that. But you can legally own that. Someone says, would you rather own a machine gun or a rifle? It depends what you're trying to do. What a question. It depends what you're trying to do, genuinely, because there's no legal requirement or excuse, let's be honest, that's kind of what they are, to own a machine gun in England. But you can own those rifles for target shooting. You say, I like shooting targets, and there you go. But yeah, I said I'd love a Barrett just because they're fucking awesome, aren't they? It's an awesome bit of machinery, and let's have that. I'd love a couple of the Accuracy International 338s just because they're amazing bits of machinery. I'd love an old vintage Purdy shotgun and maybe a Benelli Super Sport as well, just because they're that. I would like to make content on those things for the IRL channel, and I'm planning on doing that. I
wonder how many people in the comments have actually seen.
Daniel says, I believe it can. My mate takes his Mosin up there. I used to go up to one past Glossop, which could support 50 cal. Please let me know which one that is. Because I do know somewhere you can shoot the 50 cal, but it's in Scotland, and it seems to shoot like across a valley. Like, absolutely bananas. So, yeah.
For like, obviously with the current ownership situation.
Oh, let's talk, go from
guns Glazers,
okay.
Glazers and whatever. But like, it's a bit touchy talking about guns.
You need to draw. You can't just slip over from that. You have to draw a line and then start talking about that.
Do you know what I mean?
What do I think the evolution of guns will be? I don't know. Caleb says, come out to Texas, Steve. We can shoot hogs from a helicopter. That's mental, isn't it?
Someone asking me if I've still got a Corsa. Have you ever used an RPG, Steve? Surely not.
Never fired it. Well, no, not an RPG. I mean, if you mean sort of a shoulder-fired projectile, no.
You put it on your shoulder, but you never fired it.
Yep. I got a photograph of one, but I didn't fire it. The photograph in my office.
You just did it for the gram.
Yeah, man. Before the gram was a thing.
Steve, what happened with your car?
Still not been paid out. Thanks for asking.
It's all right. It's getting a Defender anyway. Or you can get the pickup truck.
Yeah, so he thinks I need a pickup truck to complete the whole Texas veteran look, despite not being from Texas. Julio says, Steve, your trip to Stockport proves we need a Steve on a field trip series on 5. That's what I've been saying. It was good, wasn't it? If you've not seen it, go check it out.
I don't think I've seen that myself.
It was a good video. It was a good video.
I think both videos that have been on your Howson IRL channel has been good, to be honest with you. I know you've got a lot of interesting ideas in the pipeline for what you're going to do next.
Well, we had a meeting about it the other day, didn't we? And there's like 8 different categories of things that I would like to go and do. And I'm going to probably come out of pre-season with some of those in place. So we will see.
Oh, we will see. But I'm going to segue, whether you like it or not, into what we actually need to talk about. And then we might revisit talking about weaponry you in trailer parks. But anyway,
maybe.
At this basically section of the season, we are near the very, very end. We're in the final month of the season. I think we've seen enough of the squad and enough of the players to kind of have an idea of how they've been. I don't think anything that happens within the next couple of games is going to sway where they place too much in terms of the tiers. Obviously, we've got player of the year contenders. We've got played well. They've done okay. We've got below par, and then we've got players who have been shit. So we're not going to go through every single player, but we are going to go through the main ones, the ones that have played a decent amount of games, maybe about 15.
Are we starting at the top of this list or the bottom?
And we are going to start at the bottom of the list and work our way up. I know it's sensational because the first name on the tier list that we are actually going to place in this is Harry Maguire. I think I know you're going to put him at the top.
Yeah, if the list's upside down, he's been shit.
Fire away.
He's been shit. He belongs in the shit tier.
He does belong in the shit tier, which is interesting because for a player that has been below par for so long and has been awful when he has played this season and he's made mistakes, doesn't fit where we're going, doesn't fit where we are at the moment. It's an interesting one that he also seems to be the one that has the highest transfer value if we are going to sell him. Them things almost don't seem to go hand in hand, but it's the truth.
Correct.
So for a player that has basically shot the bed for United for pretty much every part of his United career, apart from the early days where he looked kind of promising, how then is he going to get us a substantial transfer fee, which it seems like could be the case?
I don't know if it'll be substantial. It won't be nothing. I think United would bite someone's arm off for 25-30 mil. And fair honestly, enough. I could genuinely see him going to West Ham and being a success.
It might be.
They're going to have to spend some of that Declan Rice money.
Yeah, it's true. I think reputation carries as well because he was a highly rated centre-half before he came to United. And he's obviously got a distinct style in terms of he defends his box decently well. And he might suit that kind of team a little bit more. I think teams also look at players that fail at bigger clubs and think, I might be able to get something out of it. Yeah, I can do a job. But
I actually think Maguire could do a job. A team that's going to play on the back foot and ask him to defend the box, I think you'll get something out of him. I think there's still weakness in his game. I had a teammate of his get on to me this week.
Oh, you're going to air that out now? Literally, someone's... A team.
We're not saying who.
We're not saying who, but a former teammate of Harry Maguire is...
All right, I was going to leave it more open than that.
Do you know what I mean?
You've narrowed it down now.
Nah, it doesn't matter.
So yeah, there was someone who's played with Harry messaged me and was like, I'm not happy with all the stick he's getting. And I went, hang on. I haven't even fucking spoken about him. He went, I know you haven't, but you're the only one I know.
Okay.
So anyway.
Yeah.
We disagreed on how we rate a certain individual.
Yeah, definitely. But I think we can happily say that Harry Maguire has been shit.
Yeah,
that's the tier he belongs in, and I think it's time for his United career to end in the summer.
Okay, next up, Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Where's he going?
I'd put Aaron Wan-Bissaka in... I think he's between okay and played well. I think okay because he came from such a low point in terms of he was surplus to requirements. He didn't feel like he was going to fit in with the style, but he showed that he could do a job. Yeah. But he hasn't necessarily been amazing.
I think he's exceeded our expectations of what he would do, because I think we probably all had him in the below par. Isn't suitable to play this style of play. So the fact that he's improved shouldn't put him in the played well. It should be recognised as improved, but he still only puts him in the okay.
Okay, I think okay as well. If I was going to say in between okay and played well, but you say okay, I think he goes into the okay category. He still hasn't set the world alight in terms of his assists, and his ball progression has improved. I will say that, but I think he's still the same player he was. We've just been able to see that he does do a job in terms of if you have a winger, let me finish. If you have a left winger that you need to lock off, then Wan-Bissaka's your guy, but we need a little bit more than that.
Yeah, you've got to be better on the ball. I think okay is fine. I think played well should have a higher bar than I think okay should be like the biggest group.
Yeah.
James says, scratch your nose if it's Jesse Lingard. You're not going to guess who it is because it's quite obscure.
Then you ain't going to guess.
It is quite obscure.
That's why I didn't mind saying former teammate because I didn't think they'd guess it.
It's quite obscure, so you're not necessarily going to get it. So I'd be surprised if anyone even happens upon it.
Tyrell
Malacia.
Okay. I'm putting him below par.
I'm agreeing.
You're actually agreeing?
Yes.
I've been taking pelters for weeks about my Malacia takes.
I think he's struggled in a couple of areas. I think he's been pretty good in a couple of areas, but I would say the expectation that I had of him and what he's actually achieved, I know he was cheap and I know he's coming back up, but I think he's probably just below par. And the problem with saying that, and the problem with that you get a reaction, and there will be some reaction in there now, is that people think that that's a permanent situation. I see his ceiling being very high, quite high. I think very high is probably a reach. I think he's got quite a high ceiling, and I'm saying he's been below par now because I think he'll be in the certainly okay or played well category next year once he's settled and got used to it a little bit. He's still young, so I think so.
Yeah, I'm definitely saying below par for Tyrell Malacia. People talk about him in terms of his ability to improve and his ceiling like he's 19 years old. He's 23, turning 24 soon. He's not exactly a young player. He was bought for around 12 million, so I don't think expectations of him should be too high. But I think his ceiling is generally a backup, if I'm honest. I think defensively he can be decent, but he's inconsistent. I think he can be quite rash, and his positioning is not that great. And on the ball, he can be okay, but I do sometimes, he makes me nervous when he's on the ball.
I think he's just got to grow into it. I think he will.
I think when I went to Old Trafford, I know you like the Stretford end and the kind of view that you get. Last time I went to Old Trafford and I watched him play, I'm even more nervous when he has the ball than when I'm watching on TV. And he doesn't really offer anything in the final third. I think he is from the Wan-Bissaka ilk, but probably even a little bit worse. So I'd say below par for him. And I think his ceiling's not as high as people think.
Yeah, I'm happy with below par. I think that's fine. Rafael
Varane. I'm going to put, I think he's played well to okay, but I'm going to just go played well because I think his durability and the fact that he's so injury prone does affect that.
Definitely.
But when he has played, we're a much better team.
He's in the played well category.
He's definitely in the played well category.
And I agree that his, I wouldn't have put him a player of the year contender. And I think his performances when he's played have been in the played well upper echelon. But the fact that we've lost out on him for a little while, and it's not exactly like a one-off thing. He does seem to have a bit of fragility with injuries. Probably just leaves him slap bang in the middle of played well.
Does that concern you with the fact that Varane has been injury prone for a lot of his career, and it's become more so now, and he's getting older? And obviously we have a reliance on him where you've got Varane, you've got Martinez, and then the backup centre half is a little bit of a drop off. Obviously you've got Lindelof, who's been solid. You've got Luke Shaw, who's shown that he can play there, but is that a concern going into next season?
Yeah, and I could see them making a case to sign another centre half, unless he goes, actually Luke Shaw's surpassed my expectation as a centre half, and therefore we'll keep him as backup. But I think we've started to see this in recent weeks. Luke Shaw's progression isn't the same as Martinez's.
Okay.
And actually, you lose Luke Shaw's progression as a fullback when you play him at centre half. So you don't have the attacking threat that you would have, whether it's Delo, whether it's Malacia at left back, that you get out of Luke Shaw, which I don't think is quite as noticeable because he's not getting loads of assists, he's not putting loads of key balls in. But I think United are toothless or more toothless when he's moved centrally.
It'd be ideal if Luke Shaw was right, because with Varane can't play week in, week out, and he can't play multiple games a week, really. We need that third rotational centre-half. Looking at it, I think it would be Luke Shaw. But can Luke Shaw play centre-half with Martinez? You see two right-footed centre-halves all the time, but
out of necessity
usually. But two left-footed centre-halves,
it'd be different.
The partnership's very different.
It'd be different. I mean? And even though Luke Shaw's 6 foot, right, but he looks like he's 5'8". I don't know how he's got the frame of.
I think
he's a much shorter man.
I think he's actually a bit taller than 6 foot. I think he's nearly 6'1".
Yeah, he's bigger.
Yeah, he's tall.
Like Brian says there, Kim Min-jae available for 53 million in July. I don't know if there's any serious links going on with Kim Min-jae or if I made them up.
Okay. We'll see. Anyway, but the next player...
I know for a fact that we may or may not have accidentally, deliberately put something out during the World Cup, which did get picked up.
I think the links are legit. He's been good. I mean, the links are legit, but I think you added fuel to the fire. But anyway, we'll go on to Diogo Dalot. Where would you put him?
I feel like I'm tainted a little bit with Dalot because he started the season really well. Then it kind of went off the boil a little bit post-World Cup. I'm going to put him in okay, because okay is okay. I'm
going to put him in okay as well. I think he was played well for... prior to the World Cup, but then post that he's definitely fell off a cliff a little bit. So he's had a tale of he's had basically two seasons in one.
But if City fans come on here, they'd be pissing themselves how poor our squad is. It's true. Not only have we not got that many names to read out, like there's so many of them are in the meh kind of category, whereas City have got so much more depth. I mean, your backups are like Phil Foden and that now.
It is, isn't it? It's like, I think City's depth is good, but I think it's kind of overshot a little bit. I think Chelsea have more strength and depth than them in certain areas. It's just, I think their quality in terms of their first 13 is unbelievable.
Ryan, sorry, email Deji and ask him to forward it to me, please. The email address is on my socials. So we're saying Dalot, okay. Martinez.
Sandro Martinez is a Player of the Year contender. I'd put him in that category.
Agree.
I think not much more needs to be said. That he's come against all odds, 5'9". He's improved our ball progression. He improved our build up from the back. He's been a character. He's been a leader. He's been an unbelievable defender, and he's been consistent.
Was it Vallecano or Bilbao? Who did we play in pre-season? Yeah. Old Trafford.
Vallecano.
I think I came away from that game going, he's got cult hero potential, and I think I absolutely nailed it.
Yeah, I think he's just aura and his passion has just been infectious. I think it almost leaks into the other players as well. I think that's what he has a bit of a presence for someone so small, and I don't know. I think just as a player in general, I think he resonates quite well with the fans, and I think his ability has been. I didn't have any idea that he was this good. I know he's Player of the Year for Ajax last season, but he's 100% Player of the Year contender in my opinion.
Yeah. I reckon he's a fucking handful on a night out.
I reckon he's a nutter. I think if you can name...
I reckon he's a pest. I reckon he's fucking... I reckon he's volatile. I reckon he's a laugh. And I reckon he's one of the last to go home.
If you...
Good lad.
Top 3 players from the United squad that he'd want to go on a night out with. So you've said Martinez as one. Who would be the other 2? Do you reckon Casemiro?
Trying to think how to phrase what I want to say here. I don't know. Maybe it was because he was with his wife and he was in a tuxedo. He wasn't getting after it.
Okay.
Looked pretty fucking boring to me. Maybe it was because I was double-handing champagne at the time. I don't know. Could be that.
Probably.
Martinez is his first round pick for going on a night out. Marcus, I just think Marcus have too much energy, man. Sit down, you dick.
Nah, I've seen him in the club. I think he's really chill. Chill vibes.
Yeah, but this is in
cool
season,
guy.
isn't it? Like, I think if you get him off season,
okay,
full of fucking beans, like, no, sit down, chill out. And also, if I was out with Marcus Rashford, I wouldn't be able to relax.
I think Weghorst is a shout.
He's gonna get robbed with that chain on. That chain's worth more than my house.
Nah, not in the Manchester clubs he goes to. Nothing's happening to him there.
Oh, but you see how much bling he goes out with?
Yeah,
honestly, it looks like he's just watched every 90s rap video and gone, I'll have that, please.
Swagged out. I think Weghorst is a shout, though.
Weghorst probably be a laugh on a night out. Eric Bailly. Yeah,
Bailly.
You're having a fight in a kebab shop, no matter what. And he's like, where's he got a table from?
Yeah, I think Weghorst, Eric Bailly, and Martinez.
Yeah, look at Martinez after winning the World Cup. Guy went on a 2-week sesh.
Oh yeah, remember Martinez's first game when he came back from the World Cup? You could tell he was still drunk. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I could tell.
Rojo's a great shout. He's not a player no more for us. You've actually been out with Jadon Sancho.
Yeah, but that was prior to like United and Dortmund.
Right, well.
Since he's been back, I've never. So he could be more chilled now. He was really chilled then. Anyway, I'm not gonna lie to you. As you can probably tell from the way he plays, you don't get anyone more laid back than Jadon.
Yeah. Fred might be interesting. Another pest though, I imagine.
I feel like you're just thinking short guys are gonna be pests. But anyway,
I hadn't made that correlation actually, but I think there's something in it.
Yeah, you got to make up for it. Do you know what? I can't say.
I'm Phil Jones because he dropped the fucking bevs.
I can't do the short guy thing because I'm basically 5'10" at a push. So do you know what I mean? So I can't really.
This is the problem. Not enough fucking good on the piss characters. That's the problem.
Oh yeah, because I think our team that used to win a lot was full of him.
Yeah.
Pretty much the whole squad.
People forget Roy Keane got arrested the week of the FA Cup final.
Roy Keane has openly said that he was an absolute session, right?
Yeah, and then it was about, I think after the treble, he stopped drinking and he got his body fat so fucking lean and he got so obsessed with what he was eating. He just chicken and broccoli the fuck out. Yeah. And got, I think he might have even gone like vegetarian or something at one point, which doesn't really add up.
Oh, Anthony's a shout as well.
Anthony's.
I reckon Anthony gets kicked out in the first half an hour at a club. He's got too much of the small man syndrome anger issues. Do you know what I mean? He'll definitely lash out.
Yeah. Think of some of the characters that we've had back in the day. Giggs, loved a sesh. Robbo, loved a sesh. Keno, loved a sesh. Cantona, loved a sesh. Like, the order of the team would be like 20 fucking pints and a glass of champagne for Eric. Getting in and fucking mixer.
Yeah, probably. They said, do you think ETH could go as clubbing? I can picture Ten Hag in a club as well.
He's quite a serious guy though, isn't he?
Yeah, he's quite a serious guy, but I can picture that. But anyway,
where are we up to?
We're up to Luke Shaw. I'd put Luke Shaw in the played well category.
I think he's straddling the player of the year thing because of he plays so well in his position and so well in someone else's position.
Nah, I don't think he's quite player of the year contender.
I think you can make him a player of the year nominee that doesn't win it.
Nah, I'd say played well for Luke Shaw. I wouldn't put him in player of the year contender. He has played well for a sustained period now. And
Cannibalistic saying Rio. Rio's well chilled.
Rooney.
Rooney. See what I mean? Look how many people we've got for night outs, and just think the only boring one's Cristiano. He'd be shit on a night out.
Yeah, probably would be. Nah, he doesn't drink either, does he? So Luke Shaw, are we settling on played well?
I think I'll go into played well, yeah. I'm not going to fight you saying he is definitely player of the year. I think he could have been considered a contender. You know, he's moved into a new position and just took to it like a duck to water. Yeah. I think that's commendable. I think he was excellent in his own position. And I think him taking on a secondary position has been great.
Yeah, we're going to have to start speeding through these now, but we've got De Gea next. That's a whole other kettle of fish.
You can't say shit, even though I know a lot of the comments probably going to say he was shit. He's not been shit.
I say below par.
Below par is fair. Even though he might win Golden Glove.
I'd say below par because he's made a few errors, and in terms of his actual...
Don't that highlight goalkeepers, though? Judged by the errors more than what you've done.
Yeah, but the advanced metrics are in his favour as well, in terms of expected goals against, and shots saved are against him as well, which is something he hangs his hat on. And his distribution has showed improvement at times in the season, but over the course of it, I'd say he's probably been below par.
I'm going to say below par as well. All right, Scott McTominay.
Scott McTominay, I'd say below par as well. Bordering on shit. He's done little to nothing.
Yeah, not enough to judge him on, really. Started the season fairly bright.
He had a good start. People forget that. He started okay, but then...
Yeah, I'm going to say below par.
After that, say below par to shit.
Stephen Lilly there says, night out with Robbo McGrath back in the day. Also for me, Luke Shaw, easily our best player with Martinez. See? There are some people giving him player of the year shouts.
Interesting.
So De Gea below par.
Yeah, we said McTominay below par.
McTominay
and now we're on Marcel Sabitzer.
I think okay.
I say okay for Marcel Sabitzer. Showing flashes. I think there's been times in, especially the early days with Sabitzer, where I think he was struggling a bit with the tempo.
Well, did he have a fairly large break before he came over?
Yeah, it must have been, because games what he was starting, he looked like he was knackered after 50 minutes. He'd have to get taken off after 60. So you could tell he was in a bit of an adjustment period there. He's got 3 goals, 1 assist. He's shown himself to be quite a goal threat, actually. He arrives in the box, he gets shots off. But in terms of his general play, I'd say he's just been okay. Marcel Sabitzer.
Wout Weghorst.
Weghorst, I'm going to say shit.
I think I'm right on the borderline between shit and below par.
Nah, Weghorst has been shit, man. Do you know what it is? He came knee sliding for
the celebration, honestly.
Listen, knee sliding for other people's goals, crying when he scores the 5th goal at Old Trafford in a 5-1.
Honestly, listen, I'm here for that shit out of man. Sabitzer scored
just here running about, but literally, if I've seen a striker that's 6'7" and can't win a header, then I'm not gonna lie to you, he's been shit. His goal scoring record's been shit. His chance conversion's been shit. And his link-up was okay when he first arrived, but even that tailed off a little bit.
Yeah, I'm going to have to put him in below par. I don't think shit. I think shit's unfair. I think he came in... Without him, who played up front for all 11 games? Literally no one. He's literally just come in and filled a shirt, which is more than we can say for whoever else didn't fill the shirt.
Yeah.
So I think I've got to put him in below par.
Okay. Alejandro Garnacho.
Played well.
I think he's played well.
Very exciting every time he's come. Made some sort of like rookie, inexperienced decision making. But I think, played well and very, very exciting future for him, I think.
I think his future is very, very bright. He has shown improvement as well over the course of the season and from last. And it looks like he's growing into it a little bit. He's becoming more confident. And he's effective, and he's provided a lot more of a spark than we've seen from even the likes of Jadon, which is obviously damning on Jadon's part. But Garnacho's an exciting player, and I think his ceiling's actually very high. And
4 goals, 4 assists per minute. That's pretty well.
Yeah, 4 goals, 4 assists for Garnacho per minute. That's very impressive. Because he hasn't started a lot of games. He's been injured for a little while now. He's in and he's out, but he's always ready when he comes on. Garnacho might be, over the course of our season, our best, almost 6th man, as you'd call it, in the NBA, where he usually provides the most impact out of any players that come off the bench.
He's great coming off the bench because he comes and brings almost that Tevez quality of energy.
Yeah.
That you can't really replicate. I was chatting to, there's a guy called Gasparo Opinions, great social media account, Twitter and Instagram, and he puts out some really good football content. And he was asking about managers. And like, how are you judging managers? And a lot of it is on the subs that they make and stuff like that. And I said, look, I'm not going to comment on this, but I'll DM him because I know him, chat to him. And I said, obviously, my experience of managing doesn't really relate to the top level. But I think I can add something to what... Because he's doing a bit of research and stuff.
Yeah.
And he was asking some questions, and I think it was on the back of people saying Pep wasn't making substitutions enough with all he's got on the bench.
Okay.
And I said, do you know what it is? I think people see the opportunity with substitutions and don't necessarily see the negative impact that a substitution can make. Especially if you've worked with your starting 11 for the entire week. You've got a game plan. And in a game, sometimes things are really, really balanced. So you might go, just put another attacker on, we'll go get a goal. But you putting another attacker on breaks a structure that you've worked on all week and can allow the opposition to come in and get you. I don't mind doing that a goal down. I don't mind breaking our structure a goal down, but when it's poised, when it's 0-0, when it's 1-1, that's a really difficult decision, especially if you go, well, the 11 I've picked, I clearly think are the best 11.
Okay.
So having someone on the bench, rarely, certainly at our level at the moment, we don't really have Manchester City sort of, obviously not in terms of ability, but even relative ability on the bench. You know, at the moment, I'm drawing from my 21s and my reserves for the bench rather than the rest of the first team squad. So sometimes making substitutions is really, really difficult to see a positive impact. So I think people over-egg the action of making substitutions to try and change something. I don't necessarily think that's given the correct sort of attribution from managers.
I think with the starting 11, as a manager, you can actually get more spark or more improvement through adjusting your tactics and style and formation with the players you already have on the pitch in the game, rather than taking someone off the bench to change the game.
I said sometimes...
Because that's what Pep does. Like, Pep has been known for being someone that actually rarely does substitutions. He'll be 1-0 down, everyone's like, why has he not made a sub? And he doesn't change it.
I think that's what this whole thing was on the back of, was like he didn't bring it on to sort of change it. As there's a few instances where I'll make an early sub, obviously injuries, of course. If someone's had a stinker, which happens, and I'll try and at least allow them to get to half time before I make a change. And that'll be the only time I ever make a change. If someone's obviously having a stinker at half time, I'll pull them at half time, but you'll always get a half. Like, I don't really agree with putting someone in and then 10 minutes later taking them off. I think that's demoralising and probably singling someone out, and they don't need that. I think half-time is perfectly fine to make that sort of that change. I agree in terms of trying to adjust what you've got on the pitch. And I think, in my experience, the sort of level of teams that we play, I think that you get teams that'll sit back later and they'll sit back. And that allows you to make a change going forward, because we always have to be +1 at the back. As long as we're +1 at the back, I don't really mind. And sometimes that can leave us with just 1 at the back because teams have completely just sat back against us. In which case, I can take one of the centre-halves off, either put an extra midfielder or a forward on, and just either have 1 full-back, 1 centre-half, and absolutely go for it. But you got to be careful. Like, you can't make 2 of them changes at once, because then you could be left without +1 up front. So it's interesting at what level you do it. I genuinely think, because I do it myself as a fan, you go, just put X on, but you don't know what defensive job that guy's been asked to do. And he might be doing that job bang on. Because I've had that myself as well, where I go, well, I've asked him to cover this here, and he's doing that. He's doing a really good job of that. Or maybe I'm thinking, I could probably change this midfielder for maybe a more progressive midfielder, but actually this guy's allowing that fullback to get forward. So if I take him off, then I'm going to have no cover for this fullback when he gets forward, and they're going to dosh one over the top, and I've got no fucking cover. So those are the sort of things that you're toying with all the way through the game. And I think it's difficult. But check out Gasparo Opinions. It's really cool. What's this worst take on the internet?
I find Garnacho has been slightly overrated because he's Ronaldo, but how many times have we seen him play start well and tail off massively within 2 to 3 years? It happens, but it does happen, but he does look promising. Whether he tails off or not, we don't know. Do you know what I mean? But as of now, he's got the ability to go very far. We don't have to project 2-3 years into the future thinking that it's going to be shit. Do you know what I mean? That's not what we do as fans. We've got to think positively, especially about young players that come through the academy and they look bright. Because it's not an easy thing to do to be 17, 18 and play for a club like Manchester United.
He's not just looked a little bit bright. He's looked genuinely impressive.
Exactly. It's
sustainably impressive.
Breaking in as an academy product in a big club like United, Arsenal, Liverpool.
Some of the shit he's come out with Argentina and the Ronaldo stuff as well.
It's tough.
Like, He's got some mentality on him, I think.
Yeah, because the mentality part's the biggest part. That's why a lot of players that do look like they can come through do tail off as young players, because it does take a toll playing for a club that big. The pressure, the scrutiny, it's different world. But anyway.
Tony Marshall.
I'm going to put okay for Tony Marshall.
Below par. I'll tell you why it's been below par. I mean, I'm not saying it's his fault he's been injured, but if we took Varane down a peg because of his injuries, I think you've also potentially got to bring Tony Marshall down, because we lost Ronaldo, we lost Cavani, we lost Greenwood. We were very much reliant on Anthony Martial. And he should have had backup. He absolutely should have had backup. But I think he looked so bright at the start of the season. Yeah. It looked like he was going to have a real integral part of how we were going to play. His link-up looked fantastic. But I think even in recent weeks, we do look better when Vegas plays than Anthony Martial plays, despite the fact Vegas has got about as much goal threat as a spoon.
I disagree with that point, but I'd say okay to below par does sound about right, especially because, I mean, that will always be the case with Martial if he's not firing, because there's ability somewhere there, but it just doesn't seem to be happening for him. And in recent games, he looks to have reverted back to that languid, uninspired kind of performances that we don't like seeing from him. So
I don't think you can trust him.
Even though he's got 7 goals, 3 assists this season, I think in terms of his general performance, his availability as well, and his durability, I think okay to below par sounds about right. But where would you put Jadon Sancho?
I might put him in shit, in all honesty.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I might put him in shit.
I'd say below par for Jadon. I ain't putting Jadon in shit.
I can make a case that he's been in the shit. Because he's had opportunities.
The vibe of the crowd, because I've not been to United games for ages, because Steve hasn't let me go anymore. But it is very anti. It does seem very anti Sancho.
There's not a lot of patience there with him.
Yeah, have you sensed that as well?
I can feel that. Yeah, there's a come on, son. We paid a hell of a lot of fucking money for you. A certain player I was talking to the other day, when he was defending Harry Maguire, said, well, he tries dead hard. And I said, I tried dead hard as well, but I'm shit, mate. And he went, well, not everyone tries hard. I went, well, who doesn't try hard? He went, Sancho. And I went, yeah, you got a point. Yeah. I got no comeback with you on that one. That's fair enough.
No, that is true. But yeah, Jadon Sancho below par for me. You put him in the shit. We'll have to compromise on that one. But
I mean, where do you lot think? Where does Sancho rank here? Is it shit or below par? Because it's certainly not okay.
He's never going to resonate too much with the fans when he's not performing well, because he does come across like he ain't. It's almost like his body's there playing, but his mind isn't. He just gives that vibe. Do you know what I mean? I don't know if his heart's fully in it. I don't know what's going on, and that kind of vibe that you get from a player is unforgivable as a fan, and fans actually pick up on that very easily. So, Jadon Sancho, some people might think he's shit. Some people might think he's below par. Is it time to go? I don't know, because
most of the comments seem to be saying below par. Yeah, maybe I'm factoring in my own expectation of how good I know he can be. It's quite even on the poll, though.
Yeah.
Shit's just edging it out. It's quite even on the old poll.
2 negatives.
50-50.
Damn. But...
yeah. Okay, Anthony. Below par.
I'd say okay for Anthony.
I'm going to say below par because he's having...
It's a weird season, Anthony's
He's having like
very weird.
The second highest amount of shots in the team, 2.6 I think per match. And he's got 4 goals in the league or something to show for it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Anthony is so sporadic. I'd say okay.
I think for the money we paid for him, I think
okay because outside of the whole goals from his shots and like him being slightly wasteful in some of his opportunities and only having 2 assists.
Apparently have a clear agenda against Anthony. Yeah, you're right. He's been fucking Ballon d'Or worthy. I'm sorry.
But I think Anthony does provide a little bit of a balance on that side that we don't have when he doesn't play. But I can't see
I agree on that. Definitely
I can't see him being rated any higher than okay. But it's his first season, so you've got to give him that and hope that he can actually find a bit of his magic in that next season.
I think below par because I think where I expected him to be as a player is above what he's actually delivered. And that's surely the definition of below par. Surely.
We'll go below par then.
You
almost talked me into it. Below par.
Shobit says, would I prefer to call Ahmad back or give him another season of development somewhere?
I think you want to loan him out again.
Yeah, loan him out again, but I don't think I'd take him to Sunderland because I think they're going to get battered next year.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. I mean, I've been quite wrong with some of the recent promotions to the league. I think I had Fulham going straight back down. We do need to probably look at my league predictions in the next 2 weeks, I reckon.
Yep.
Yeah, right. Like Notch says, Anthony's a victim of his price tag. Yep, you have to factor it in. You have to factor it in, and we'll factor it in for the next one.
Joe Smith used to use that same thing whenever anyone said anything about Maguire, saying it's not his fault about his price tag, but
it's a factor.
It's just a factor.
So Christian Eriksen, player of the year contender for me.
Eriksen?
Yeah. Transformed us, him and Casemiro in midfield.
This is one where we're massively different, because you're saying player of the year contender for Eriksen, and I'm putting, for Eriksen, I'd honestly put between okay and played well.
Where do you lot reckon? Christian Eriksen. Played well, okay, player of the year contender?
He's not player of the year contender. He ain't player of the year contender. I played well, I can see, but I think I wouldn't argue against him being put in the okay tier as well.
Crybaby says, class, played well. Okay, there's a player of the year shout there.
Do you know what I mean? But we'll go for played well then for Eriksen. But
yeah, all right, yeah, I'll agree with that. I've really enjoyed watching him play, man. It's been so long since I had a midfielder that I could trust to take the ball the way he does.
I've been affected by some of his recent performances. Some of his recent performances aren't like...
Him and Casemiro, the same, I think. Absolutely the same. They've both been tailed off a little bit, but I think it could just be a sheer weight of how many games have been played, and no, they've not actually played that many together recently because of injuries and stuff like that. Okay, played well. Casemiro,
player of the year contender.
Agreed.
And he's another one that, on his recent performances, might have affected that a little bit. I think he's tailed off. I don't know whether it's a long season, the amount of games, and obviously his age is getting up there. But he's definitely played the year contender still, if you factor in the whole entirety of the season. Especially because even though he has not been as good in recent weeks, especially post-suspension, he's the only player on our team with that defensive midfield profile. And when he hasn't played, wow, have we looked bad. Do you know what I mean?
So he's got to take the points off a red card. I don't, because I don't think either of them... I think you could argue both of them were bullshit red cards. Yeah. So I'm not going to take them off. Fuck it. Because I want to take that edge out of him, and that might be another thing. Yeah, he might be in his own head about...
He's the only proper defensive midfielder we have. Do you know what I mean? So he's more than vital. Yeah.
Crybaby says, I think you should ignore the red cards and get more aggressive. Yeah, I think so far he's had the best season out of everyone we've discussed so far. Him and Luke Shaw, but Luke Shaw's just a touch behind him, I think. So yeah, for me, Casemiro, absolute player of the year contender.
Okay.
About Fredge.
Below par for Fred. Fred's done what he's always done, which is
he's so fucking loon.
But he's so high and low. Like when he plays well, he plays really well. But
is he an Arsenal fan?
He must be, because then what he'll do when Fred can't just have like a little bit of a bad game.
6.5 out of 10 don't happen.
No, when he has a bad game, he looks like he shouldn't be playing professional football.
Yeah, and then when he has a good game, you're just like, you have to ring people and be like, did you just see that performance I've just seen out of him there?
Yeah.
He is Brazilian. Do you know
what I mean? But then he'll follow it. He'll follow it 2 games later where he's like borderline man of the match. So I don't know, because I can think of like 2-3 games this season where he's played really well and he's been borderline man of the match, and I can think of games where I've looked at him and thought, wow.
Barcelona was one of them.
Yeah.
Pressed everything.
Wait, is Man City at home?
Junior, you don't know what Fred you're subbing on. Yeah, that's the problem, isn't it? You're just rolling the dice here. This could be genius or catastrophic. So I'd say you got to go okay with that because there has been highs, but there's been lows as well. So I think okay, quintessential squad player. Although I'd rather have someone I could trust a little bit more.
It's either or for Fred. What do you think of him as a player? Is he a good player who has stinkers, or is he a shit player that has occasional worldies?
It's a really... He's probably a shit player, that has worldies, isn't he? Do you know what, though? I could see him going to Fulham a little bit like Andreas Pereira did, where the pressure of playing for United is far too much, and then you go to Fulham and you're like, oh my God, that kid's good. I could see Fred being like really well liked or somewhere like that.
It's the mistakes and it's the apologies thing that he does every game. He's like, that jars me so much.
Do you reckon he's got plastic plates at home?
Probably, yeah.
Clumsy, isn't it?
Yeah, he's clumsy as fuck. It's the fact that he can't pass the ball, like he can't do a ground pass more than 10 yards without lifting it. And that is that.
Do you reckon he probably plays football in his house and has got like a permanent window guy on call? Just because instead of like just doing kick-ups while he's having cornflakes, he's fucking welded one through the fucking telly.
His heart's in the right place, put it that way. But in terms of his ability, his consistency and quality, Fred's below par.
Crybaby says give him steroids, he might be all right.
Okay.
Wow. Ed says, when did Brazil start producing these players that have zero tech? 20 years and Fred Joe Linton didn't exist.
Joe Linton
Joe Linton's had a season now.
He's had a season.
All right, from Fred to Marcus Rashford.
Rashford is Player of the Year contender. He's Player of the Year contender, but just like a lot of our players and just the general team in general, he's tailed off.
Fell off, yeah. The last 3-4 weeks has been pretty fucking minging for every single Manchester United player.
But you can't have nearly 30 goals and 9 assists and not be Player of the Year contender.
I think I won't even add contender to the end of that. I think he is our Player of the Year. Because
without him and his goals and his contributions this season, we'd be in a much worse position.
No shit. He's the only one scoring.
Yeah, exactly. The only one scoring. Especially we're in a team that doesn't control games. Everything that we do in games is transitional. And he's the only player that we have in forward areas, other than Garnacho, who has not been available, that is potent in transition. That's why he's been so effective. So if we didn't have Rashford playing, and it was... Imagine we had games where we can't control it, which has been a lot of them, and our wingers were Anthony and Jadon Sancho. Every time we countered, the ball would come back. Do you know what I mean? It would almost be no point.
Yeah.
So
I think
Rashford Player of the Year.
I think that run he went on was worthy of just fucking giving him the trophy.
Yeah, he's borderline. He was world class at that point.
It was mad as well because he could contribute jack shit into a game and be like, what, winner? No problem, watch this. Done.
You need players like that though. You need match winners in your team. That no matter how they're playing, they can win you a game. That's vital.
Which leaves us with Bruno Fernandes.
Bruno Fernandes. You said that off FIFA.
Is that what they say? I don't.
Yeah, that's how they pronounce his name on FIFA. Bruno Fernandes is played well. He's played well. I think he could scratch the surface of Player of the Year contender.
I think he's Player of the Year contender. Yeah. I think the amount of chances he's created, he's shown an evolution in his play, he's took on leadership. I think he's in the contender. I think if I had to rank the players this season, I'm going to go Marcus Rashford, Casemiro, Bruno, Luke Shaw. I think that's our...
You missed one out there.
Who's that?
You missed Martinez out.
Oh, shit. Yeah, I did. You're right. Sorry. Yeah.
If I was to rank players...
Martinez is in the top 3.
I think Rashford, Martinez, then Casemiro.
Yeah, I agree
for Player of the Year contenders. So Bruno just falls below that in the played well category.
No, I put them as your 4 or 5 nominees for Player of the Year. I think he's been... I liked the evolution of his game. I loved how he shut people up with people like he fucking loses the ball too much and he's like, cool, watch this 100 fucking pass game, just completely dominate the ball. So I loved that evolution at a relatively old age as well. Like he's just totally changed from being this seen as a wasteful player to a player that can actually pop it and move it and dominate a game with the ball. And I'd love to see the next step of that after a pre-season. Because I don't think they've been working on technical stuff. I don't think they've had any opportunity to do that. So I'd like to see where Bruno can develop his midfield play too. Because I think currently, Casemiro, Eriksen, Bruno is a very strong midfield. I like
Definitely.
it. But yeah, so go on then. Player of the year is?
Let us know.
There's a poll up. Rashford,
poll
Bruno,
up.
Martinez, or Casemiro.
But yeah, the issue is, I think we went through a majority of that squad and there weren't that many in a played well and above category.
No, which on one hand shows that we've got a great opportunity. Lisandro Martinez currently winning the poll, just from Rashford. It's just flipped, Marcus.
Probably will flip for a little while, actually.
So yeah, there you go.
We've done this thing that you really, really don't like, which is tiered. But I think if you are to summarise that, we had a lot of players in OK and below. In a season where we could end up being top 4 and got silverware. So I think that bodes well for where we can actually go in the future. If Ten Hag's back properly in the summer, which obviously bodes on this ownership issue, which is doing my head in. I swear to God.
I can't believe how much it's been dragged out.
Yes. You said a few weeks ago that it's normal for it to be dragged out, but now they're taking a piss.
Red says, can we get a Ten Hag rating?
Ooh.
I find it interesting how we've seen Ten Hag lose more than Ollie did in either of his full seasons, which is very interesting. I still stand by the fact that I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was so poorly treated by the media and the TalkSport types that Manchester United fans have probably under-egged how good he was. Now, I agreed that he should have gone at the time he went because there was obvious flaws in the play. I didn't have the confidence that the team was going to be able to turn it around. We hadn't evolved a play style where we could take the ball, dominate it, and take it to teams. And I think Ten Hag has come in. He's made some excellent signings, and maybe those signings wouldn't have been available.
The whole Ten Hag's lost more than Ollie. That's why you don't look at win percentages. You got to look at points per game, because I'm pretty sure that Ollie drew a lot more games than Ten Hag did in the first season, and
I don't know off the top of my head.
So
don't know off the top of my head. I mean, Ollie finished second and third on the back of he got the job on the back of that incredible winning run, which you can't take away from him. And I think it was a very easy decision to award him that job at that time.
Yeah.
I don't think he was given the players he wanted. I think he was. He signed some players.
Another poll. Poll spam today.
I think some of the players signed under Solskjaer. Maguire especially is going to be a big weight around his neck forever.
Yeah.
When you're judging him. But I don't always believe that the managers are given the authority to sign exactly who they want.
Okay.
And I believe all of our signings this year were signings that Ten Hag wanted.
Okay.
And I think they've contributed massively to how he's been able to implement his style of play. I think Ollie came in, the team was playing a certain way. The players that we got in were identified and got in. And then the team's style of play evolved. And I don't think he had the privilege to change.
I think at the point that Ollie was sacked, he needed to be sacked, in my opinion.
Yeah, I see that there. Ollie clueless. Ollie, the worst manager at Manchester United. I don't believe that's the case.
He had obviously did decent things or whatever, but looking back, there was still, when he went was definitely time. Especially,
I'm not arguing that. I absolutely agree. When he went,
I remember
go.
when he went was the game when we got battered 4-0 away at Watford at Vicarage Road, and it was just like, it was done.
I think, there'll be loads in there arguing here now, but like I think Ollie needs to go after the 2021 season when he just finished third. On what basis could you sack him? Like, I think you need to go look back at, is someone arguing that Lampard's better than? Please just go and watch someone else. I do not want that level of idiot watching me. Thank you. I think when you consider that he had Maguire and Lindelof and McTominay and Fred, do you think he would have been picking Casemiro or Martinez if he had them?
So what are you actually arguing for Ollie then? I'm
just arguing that the perception of Ollie is so different from reality.
I think the perception is quite 50-50 in the fan base. It's not like completely anti. Do you know what I mean? Because I look back on it thinking...
Yeah, we scored 5 plus goals.
I look
more
at
than
it.
under any
But
other
I looked
league.
at it. Was Ollie going to be the manager to take United back to the heights that we once were? No, he wasn't. That's just he might have done decent things or whatever, but in terms of that's just the way I view it.
I think there's a few things at play here. If you was trying to talk about both managers and be very fair on both, I would say Ollie had more of an ability to tactically win a game than Ten Hag had, but I think Ten Hag has got more of an idea of what his plan A is than Solskjaer. Well, Solskjaer proved it. How many games did Solskjaer go to that we weren't expected to win that we pulled over?
You're on about game management then?
No, I'm on about the tactics to be able to go and win a game you're not supposed to. Paris, Manchester City multiple times. There was loads of times that we would go play off the back foot, play counter-attacking and win a game.
So like we did when we beat City at home this season and when we beat Liverpool as well.
Yeah, but we beat them at home.
Okay.
Paris was away.
You still need tactics though.
Yeah, I understand that, but I'm saying...
Were those away games during COVID when we went on that amazing run, and it was the massive factor for those away games was the fact that there were no fans?
Paris wasn't no fans.
Okay. Because
Paris was a team of
the
teenagers.
thing that we remember Ollie by was our away form was insane. But a lot of that did come during COVID, where away teams didn't have the atmosphere of fans, which people say, the people that you then said to me, oh, why didn't everyone else do it? But the fact was, the rate of away victories during that period was miles higher than it ever was.
But
so that was obviously a factor.
It was like when Lance Armstrong, everyone was taking drugs. He was just still the best. Jibak there says, only blemish on Ollie's tenure is Maguire. He, being a limited manager, extracted amazing results from mediocre players, had Pep's number and made us believe. Yeah, I think I think people have got a massive wrong conception of it. I don't think Ten Hag is in any way a mistake. I think he has got the capability of being able to. Someone saying Ollie had no tactics. That's provably fucking not true, is it? And Red Lad there says if Ollie had a director of football instead of Ed Woodward, Insta followers. Yeah, I think. You know, I think there's loads of things about Solskjaer that people have forgotten about, or the media has like put this conception about, and I think he was done wrong. I still agree he had to go when he went. Yeah. I didn't believe he was capable of turning it around at the time at United, but I still think he did a fucking good job, and I think if he'd have had the team we've got now, I think he would have done decent with it.
Well,
and ultimately he didn't win a trophy, but he did get back-to-back finishes in the league, second and third, which no one has been able to replicate post Alex Ferguson.
Until Ten Hag possibly finishes third with a trophy in his first season. Yeah,
it's possible, but he might also finish fifth.
Well, we'll revisit that after the season then. But I think that's about it now. Been through the tiers, spoke about guns.
Dead and Gone says, why isn't Ollie being shortlisted for any Premier League job? He's basic. Yeah. Do you think basic managers get fucking second and third with McTominay, Fred and fucking Maguire in the team? Come on, man. Like, you're making the fucking point that I'm making here, is that he's just treated completely differently. Autumn in April, they're saying, if Mourinho had Ollie's results, Stephen would crucify him. Did I crucify Mourinho? Don't think I did. Here's the facts. Solskjaer managed higher finishes than Mourinho did. Yeah, he also scored 5+ goals more than any other manager post Alex Ferguson. Camille says, Stephen, you're clueless, mate. You can't even spell your. Anyway.
That was a Piers Morgan response, that.
Well, either way. What am I fucking clueless about? Jose finished second, yeah. And then where else did he finish? I said no one finished second and third. He's the only one that finished back-to-back inside.
Surely we're not arguing Mourinho and Ollie managerially, surely. Wait, wait. What is the argument here? Are you arguing...
I'm saying the perception of Ollie is completely fucking wrong.
So you're arguing better managers out of Mourinho and Ollie?
You what?
Is that what you're arguing?
Yeah, I'm saying it's closer than people fucking think. Say he says Mourinho had loads of 4-0s and more trophies. He did, but he also finished, what was it, 6th? Did we finish 6th?
I can't believe that.
A cup competition is a bit of a fucking gamble.
You can't compare Ole to Jose Mourinho. No chance.
Well, you obviously can, because they both fucking failed at United. And they were closer between each other than...
So, all right, so what... If you look at their other jobs, I think Mourinho winning the Champions League with Porto.
He did. It was a phenomenal achievement.
I think winning the Champions League with Porto for Mourinho, and not even talking about what he did at Chelsea, surpasses anything Ole's ever done as a manager.
Ole is the worst and got 3 years to ruin the club standard. I mean, it's just fucking provable bollocks, isn't it? Jesus Christ. What Mourinho did at Porto was incredible. It was absolutely incredible. But I don't think Jose Mourinho's been the same since Real Madrid.
He's doing quite well at Roma.
He is doing quite well at Roma, yeah. Anyway, we're going to wrap it up.
See you in a bit. See you later. Mourinho or Ole, let us know.
Anyway, see you in a bit. Laters. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, five-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button